So here I'm reading part 3 of Indian Evidence Act, starting from title is Production and Effect of Evidence, chapter 7 of the Burden of Proof. Okay, part 3, chapter 7, Production and Effect of Evidence. 101, Burden of Proof. Whoever desires any court to give judgment as to any legal right or liability, whoever, for example, it's me, I am desiring any court to give judgment as to legal right or liability. Either it may be right or it may be liability. Legal right or duty, that means liability, dependent on the existence of facts which he asserts, I assert, must prove those facts exist. When a person is bound to prove the existence of any fact, it is said burden of proof. B. Bound, burden. So, for example, A desires to a court to give judgment that B shall be punished for a crime which B has committed. A must prove that B has committed the crime. I can make this illustration in a little more good way, like 302 accused of some crime to give crime obviously. So then comes A desires to give judgment is entitled to certain land in the position of B. By reason of fact which he asserts, which B denies. One asserts and another denies. So A must prove the existence of those proofs. So one example is criminal, one example is civil. Done. 102 on whom burden of proof lies. 101 is about burden of proof. 102 is on whom burden of proof lies. Suit or proceeding, civil and criminal, ties on that person who fail if no evidence at all were given on either side. Illustration: A Swiss bill for land which B is in possession. A asserts was left to A by the will of C, B's father. If no evidence were given to either side, B will be entitled to retain his position. Therefore, the burden of proof is on A because A asserts. A sues B money due on a bond. The execution of bond is admitted, but B says that it was obtained by fraud, which A denies. If no evidence were given on either side, A will succeed, as the bond is not disputed and fraud is not proved. Therefore, burden of proof is on B. So this is 102 is onus of proof. 103 burden of proof is to particular fact. Who wishes the court to believe its existence, unless it is provided by law that the proof of the fact shall lie on any particular person. Illustration: A prosecute B for theft. 379 theft. It wishes the court to believe that B admitted and the theft to C. Wishes the court to believe that B admitted the theft to C. A must prove that the admission. Okay. Interesting. A must prove the exhibition. B wishes the court to believe that at the time in question he was elsewhere. That means the plea of alibi, section 11. He must prove it. The burden of proving fact to be proved to make evidence admissible. Okay. Who wishes to give such evidence? Wishes. A wishes to prove dying declaration by B. A must prove B's death. This is very simple. 32(1) dying declaration. A wishes to prove by secondary evidence the contents of a lost document. A must prove that a document has been lost. Very easy. Burden of proving that the case of accused comes within exceptions. Indian Penal Code, Chapter 4, 76 to 106. Any special exceptions is pleaded in this case. So what he need to do? Absence of the presumption is court should presume the absence of such circumstances. Is accused of murder resisted by reason of unsoundness of mind. I think it's in 84. He did not know the nature of the act. The burden of proof is on A. A accused of murder resisted by grave and sudden provocation was deprived of power of self-control. So the burden of proof is on A. Section 325 of CRPC. Whoever except in cases provided by section 355 voluntarily causes grievous assault. 325 voluntarily causing grievous assault. 323 I think 312 no 23 causing grievous shall be subject to certain punishments. Each charge is voluntarily causing grievous under section 325. The burden of proving the circumstances bringing the case under section 335 lies on A. Okay, 325 and 335. Burden of proving facts especially within knowledge. Especially within knowledge of any person, it lies upon that person. When a person does an act with intention that the other than that which the character and circumstances of the act suggest, the burden of proving the intention is upon him. A charged with traveling in a railway without ticket, the burden of proving that he had tickets is on him. Burden of proving that a person known to have been alive within 30 years, 707. burden of proving death of a person, and burden of proving life, that he is alive, not had been heard of, proving that the person is alive, who has not been heard of 7 years. So proving that is on the person who affirms it. Man is dead or alive, not been heard for 7 years, by who naturally have been heard. Okay, alive is shifted to the person who affirms it. Done. The burden of proving is to relationship in case of partners, landlords, tenants, principal and agents. It's very simple. Principal, agent, landlord, tenant and partners. The question is whether persons are partners, landlords, tenants, principals and agents. It has been shown that they have been acting as trust. The burden of proving that they do not stand and have ceased to stand to each other's, cease to extend or do not extend. They are not so. Okay, is on the person who affirms it. Burden of proof as to ownership. Not the owner, is on the person who affirms that he is not the owner, and it is negative. Okay, minus, they do not, and it is not the owner, not been heard, then he was, it is plus. So there's nothing my plus minus, it is defense, evidence admissible, wishes, particular fact wishes. One proof of faith in good faith, active confidence. Okay, who is in position of active confidence? Good faith by client to an attorney is in question, so it is up to the attorney to prove it. Son and father, it is up to the father. Presumption as to certain offences 1118. Where the person is accused of having committed an offence specified in subsection 2 in an area declared as disturbed area for the time being enforced, making provision for suppression of disorder, restoration and maintenance of public order. Suppression of disorder and restoration and maintenance of public order in area which has more than 1 month extensive disturbance of public peace. It is shown that such person had been at a place in such area at the time when firearms or explosives were used at or from the place to attack or resist the members of armed forces or forces charged with maintenance of public order acting in the discharge of their duties. It shall be presumed at least consideration that such person had committed such offence. This presumption is very strong. The offences in subsection 1 are following: waging war against the government of India. 121A is what? Waging war, abating the waging of war, concealing design, I don't know, I forget. 123 to 123. 123 I guess concealing. Indian Penal Code. Then criminal conspiracy, attempting to commit an abatement of the offences under 122, 123. And 112, birth during marriage conclusive proof of legitimacy, unless it is shown that they had no access and there's time period. Born during the continuous availability within his mother within 280 days after its dissolution. 280 days after its dissolution. Then it will be presumed that it was legitimate son. Proof of cessation of territory shall be conclusive proof that a valid cessation of the territory. Okay. 113A, presumption is to abatement of suicide by married women. So all provisions of dowry date is given here, 7 years in all ingredients. And cruelty has the same meaning as section 498A. Presumption as to, okay, it is abatement of suicide. It is 10306, I guess, 306 by married woman. Okay. Then 115B, presumption as to dowry date 304. Then court may presume existence of certain facts. These are 114. Possession of stolen goods. He is the either thief or has received goods knowing them to be stolen. Accomplice is unworthy of credit unless he is corroborated in material particulars. Will of acceptance interest was accepted interest for good consideration. The thing or state of thing has shorter than judicial and official acts have been regularly performed. Common course of business has been followed in particular case. Evidence which could be or is not produced to be produced, be unfavorable to the person who withholds it. The defendant refuses to answer a question that he is not compelled to answer by law. Not compelled to answer by law, the answer, if given, would be unfavorable to him. When a document creating an obligation in the hands of obligator, the obligator has been discharged. Hands of obligator. But the court shall also have regard to the such aspects as following, inconsistent with the such maxims toward applying to. Okay, yeah, illustration A. A shopkeeper has in his bill a marked rupee soon after it was stolen, and he cannot, for its position specifically, but is continually receiving rupee in the course of his business. Illustration B. A person of highest character is tried for causing man's death by an act of negligence in arranging certain machinery. B. A person of equally good character who also took part in the arrangement described precisely what was done and explains the common carelessness of A and himself. Illustration B. Again, A is committed by several persons. A crime is committed by several persons. A, B, and C. Three of the criminals are captured on the spot and kept apart from each other. Each gives an account of crime implicating D, and the account corroborate each other in such a manner as to render previous concert highly improbable. Illustration C. A drawer of a bill of exchange was a man of business. B. The acceptor was a young and ignorant, completely under his influence. The illustration D is proved that a river ran in a certain course 5 years ago, but it is known that there have been floods since that time, which might change its course. Illustration D. Illustration E. A judicial is regularly given which in question is performed under exceptional circumstances. Illustration F. The question is whether a letter was received. It is shown to have posted, but the usual course of the post was interrupted by disturbance. Illustration J. Man refuses to produce a document which would give bear on a contract of small importance on which he is sued, which might injure the feelings and reputation of his family. Illustration H. A man refuses to answer a question which he is not compelled by law to answer, but the answer to it might cause loss to him in matters unconnected with the matter in relation to which it is asked. Illustration I. A bond is in position of obligator, but the circumstances of the case are such that he may have stolen it. 411 A. Presumption as to absence of consent in certain prosecution of rape. In prosecution of rape under clause A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N of subsection 2 of section 376 of the Indian Penal Code, where sexual intercourse by the accused is proved, and the question is whether it was or without consent of the woman alleged to have been raped, and such woman states in her evidence before the court that she did not consent, the court should presume that she did not consent. Okay, then explanation section intercourse may mean what is given under clause A to D of section 375 of Indian Penal Code. Then 115 is about stoppel.